Welcome to this episode of the MasterCraft How-To series. In this episode, we're going to show you the different seating combinations as well as accessories available for the Jeep JK Wrangler. If you're ready, let's get started. What we're working with today is the four-door Jeep JK Wrangler, which has bucket seats in the front and a split bench in the rear. We're going to show you the different variations as far as the front seat options, which are the Baja RS and the Rubicon. We're going to install the Baja RS. For the rear, there's three different options. There's a slip-over cover for the factory seat. There is a 48-inch bench seat from MasterCraft, as well as the ability to put buckets in the back. The first step is to go ahead and remove the two bolts on the front seat using an 18mm socket. Once you've removed the front two bolts, the easiest way to get to the rear is go ahead and use the factory seat slider, which gives you direct access to the back ones. We'll go ahead and remove those. For the next step, we're going to use a number 45 torque bit to remove the seat belt retainer bolt. And then from there, we're going to slide the seat back and go ahead and remove and unclip the seat belt and airbag sensor. We're going to go ahead and take the seat out now that we have all the bolts undone. Put it up on the table here so it's nice and easy to get to all the bolts. The next bolts we're going to remove are the 8 bolts on the inside of the bracket. Using a 13mm end wrench, I'm going to go ahead and remove these. So now that we've got the base separated from the seat, there's a few things we need to remove. One is the airbag sensor as well as the seat sensor. Now the airbag sensor stays with the factory seat, but the seatbelt sensor will come with us. The next item we have to remove is the factory seatbelt receiver from the seat base, which uses the same number 45 Torx bit. Now when ordering your Baja RS, either on MasterCraft's site, www.mastercraftseats.com, or at your local dealer, you're going to want to make sure that you order both a driver and a passenger side, because the 9-way position reclining mechanism needs to be specific. On the JK, what we need to do is we need to put the reclining mechanism towards the door. So what we're going to do to make this easy is flip this up. Go ahead and recline it back so you have a nice flat plane to work with. On your seat slider, you're going to want to make sure that none of the slides have moved positions, because it's going to make it severely difficult for you to line up the bolts on the slider with the base mount. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you order the front seat mount bracket kit. It does not come with the seats, so you have to make sure that whether you're ordering it online or at your dealer, that you include this in your order. Now the bracket kit comes with a driver and a passenger side mounting kit. The driver's side will come with 4 1/4-inch spacers. The passenger side comes with 2 1/4-inch spacers, and all the necessary hardware to make this installation simple and easy. Okay, so to set up your slider, what we're going to do is we're going to put the handle for the sliding mechanism towards me, which means this is the front. And as if you're sitting in the seat, we're going to call this the left rear. Now the left rear is the bracket that gets the 1/8-inch welded on spacer right there. The right rear gets the other bracket. Now the front, they're the ones that get the 1/8-inch quarter spacers, just like this. Now there's a couple ways you can wrestle with this installation. I choose to use the path of least resistance and go ahead and I had a friend come in, this is Ryan from MasterCraft. We're gonna grab this bracket, holding the bolts onto it, and then you see, slide it right in there, and just like this, it's ready to go. Now we will reuse the stock sensor bracket, and that goes right on the back side here. So before you put these last two bolts on, make sure you put this piece on first. All right, now that you've got all 8 nuts snugged up, what we're going to need to do is go ahead and attach the seatbelt receiver. If you have one of the models that actually has this sleeve onto it, what you're going to need to do is actually pull that off and push this through. And then what we're going to need to do is take the ears of this and bend it out so it sits flat on here. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can obviously use a bench vise and a pair of vice grips, or old-fashioned hammer. So now that we've gotten the tab straight, we install it on the bracket right here. And go ahead and tighten it down with an 8mm Allen key. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hook up the wiring. And then when you're done, we'll go ahead and zip tie it all to the bottom of the seat to keep it up and nice and clean. So when you put it in, the front right does have a center locating pin. And once you get that in, just in case your slider did move on you, it's very simply just go ahead and lift up the slider handle, move it into the position you need it into, so you can get the front and the back bolts in. So once you've got the bolts lined up, just like removing the seat, we'll go ahead and slide the seat back so you can have easy access to the front bolts. So there's one more step and then we're all done. Take your factory seat belt, go ahead and install that back onto that bracket. Uses the same 8mm Allen wrench that we used on the other side. Make sure that's good and snug. And your seat is installed, ready to go. Great, so now that we have the driver's side in, we're going to go ahead and do the passenger side as well. So we've got the underneath of the passenger seat here. Now there's a bracket on the seat that we have to remove that only comes on some of the JK models. What we're going to do is there's 2 rivets, we're going to drill those out, and once that comes off, that'll marry up to this bracket that comes with the front seat bracket kit that will then go onto the slider. Just like that. Okay, now that you have these two married together, you're going to go ahead and go on the seat mount on top, and then you're going to take the slider mechanism and put that on top of here and go ahead and tighten up your 8 bolts. Final piece, let's go ahead and connect your seat sensor. Zip tie it to the top of the seat, and you're ready to go. One final check through that you're going to want to do is make sure that none of the wires underneath the seat are hanging down or in the slider mechanism, because you don't want to slide and all of a sudden pinch a wire or anything. So just like this one here, where the wire needs to be tied up, we'll go ahead and take this wire and zip tie it to the bottom of the seat just to make sure that it doesn't get caught in that slider. Now that we have the front seats in and looking fantastic, this concludes part 1 of the How To MasterCraft series on the JK seating options. Part 2, we're going to go ahead and jump to the back and check out the different options there, such as the slip-over cover, the 48-inch Sportsman bench seat, as well as the dual bucket seats. So thanks for tuning in.